Are you interested? Buying gold for less than $10 per ounce? What if current market conditions have created an environment where gold mining companies are selling at valuations that represent gold in the ground at less than $10 per ounce? Today I want to talk to you about one of those such companies, First Mining Gold. They're a Canadian gold developer. They've got two huge projects, one in Ontario, one in Québec. Each of those has 5 million or more ounces of gold that have been defined in the ground. The drilling's already been done. This is not an exploration like maybe we'll find gold. No, it's already been defined. But on top of that, they will be exploring for even more gold at both of those projects. Don't worry, we'll talk about that later in the video. But first, I want to quickly disclose to you my relationship with the company. First Mining Gold is the exclusive sponsor of Ron's Basement. My videos are brought to you thanks to them. I'd shared with you I needed a sponsor, but I would only take a sponsorship in a company that I wholeheartedly believe in. Well, I've owned stock myself, a significant amount, in First Mining Gold for many, many years. You can go back and look. I've actually made videos about them over the previous 2 to 3 years. So when I talk about this company, you can rest assured I have skin in the game. I've been committed to them on a long-term basis, and I will continue to be committed to them on a long-term basis. Enough of that. Let's dig into this fascinating story, because I do believe it offers superior stock price appreciation potential. Let's start with this $10 per ounce gold number. How did I calculate it? If you take the total market capitalization of the company, the total market value of the company in US dollars today, March 3rd, 2023, that's $108 million. Divide that by the total gold resource that the company has. Remember, gold that's in the ground but's already been defined, measured and indicated and inferred. That is 12.5 million ounces. When you divide those numbers, you come actually to a lower number. It's even better, $8.64. But believe it or not, it even gets more enticing when you consider the company has over $10 million in cash and is owed future payments from a number of partnership arrangements, which we're going to talk about later in the video. And you may want to consider that First Mining Gold, their Canadian gold developer peers, most of them are selling at an average per ounce price closer to $30 or $40 per ounce. And consider that that whole sector, the whole gold mining sector, and in particular the developer space, has been already beaten down by almost any metric, any measure. They're at historical low valuations. So you've got a situation where the whole sector's been beaten down, and on top of that, First Mining Gold, when you compare it to the average of the sector, the value proposition is super compelling. Do you want to dig into some specifics on the company? Like I said earlier, they have two of the larger development gold projects in Canada, Springpole in Ontario and Duparquet in Québec. These are globally significant projects, like will catch the eye of the major mining companies of the world. Let's start by talking about Springpole. It had a pre-feasibility study completed in 2021 that shows an 11-year mine life and will produce more than 300,000 ounces of gold per year. There are not many projects in North America that offer such a compelling opportunity. Springpole has measured and indicated and inferred gold of 4.9 million ounces. It's currently in the environmental assessment process. They've added to an already large land package at Springpole over the last few years, and they will be exploring. And this is known as an area that has great prospects. They could easily increase that 4.9 million ounces in the coming years. Now let's move to the east and talk about their recently consolidated Duparquet project in Québec. It has 5.8 million ounces of gold, measured and indicated and inferred. It is in a great location, the Abitibi region, known as being a prolific area for discovering and producing gold. This was a major milestone for the company over the last year. It's in a great area. It's geographically located close to highways, power lines. There were past producing mines there. This is a big, big deal for First Mining Gold. There's even an opportunity to start with a smaller mine there, like a starter pit, they call it, meaning that there's some high-grade gold that they could mine initially to help kickstart things, or with a partner that could potentially happen. The whole situation in Quebec is very, very encouraging. It appears that the local people are really behind the mine getting built, getting reopened. Things look great for the company in Quebec. And I want you to think about this for a second. At their Quebec project alone, there has been over 270,000 meters of historic drilling that's been done. That's how they're able to define all that gold that's in the ground. But like I said, this is a highly prospective region. They own a lot of land. They're going to be exploring for even more gold there as well. And who do you think is going to head up all this exploration? Let's start talking about the people at First Mining Gold, because anytime you consider investing in a company, especially in the mining sector, you want to have a high level of confidence in the people that you're investing in. Exploration at First Mining Gold is head up by James Maxwell. He's got 20 years of experience, and I found it super interesting that before he joined First Mining Gold, he was with Sabina Gold. Did you hear the news that that company has just been acquired by B2 Gold? I think we can rest assured that James Maxwell knows what he's doing when he goes out exploring for gold. Do you think it'll be a critical job at First Mining Gold? The person that's heading up the permitting process, right? We've got big, big projects going through the permitting process. Steve Lines, VP of Environment and Community Relations. His background, well, let's see. He worked for a company called De Beers. He also was critical in getting the permit for the Greenstone mine that's being built right now in Ontario by Equinox Gold. Yes, that company that Ross Beatty himself started a number of years ago. Steve is a super sharp guy. He's familiar with both these regions, and I feel very confident that the company is in good hands when it comes to dealing with environmental and the critical good relationships that need to be maintained with the indigenous communities. You want to hear about the CEO, Dan Wilton? I've met him personally. And after that personal meeting, it only confirmed for me what I already thought. He has a long-term vision for this company. He's making decisions for the shareholders, for the company, with a long-term vision of growth and good returns for investors. Now, it's critical to me when I own stock in any company that I know the CEO has some skin in the game. Look, I just asked Dan several times over the years, flat out, do you have a significant amount of your own personal net worth invested in the company? And the answer is yes. And we have one more person to talk about, Keith Neumeyer. Have you heard of him? Royalty within the mining sector. Keith Neumeyer founded this company in 2015. Keith Neumeyer hired Dan Wilton 3.5 years ago. Keith Neumeyer owns a significant number of shares in the company, more than 15 million, and he continues to buy more shares every year. and he continues to be the chairman of the board for First Mining Gold. I think it's safe to say that Keith Neumeyer remains 100% committed to the success of this company. Do you believe me when I tell you there's even more to talk about at First Mining Gold? We know they're two huge projects, right? 5 million ounces or more each. But what if I told you there's even another project in Ontario that the company owns 100% of, Cameron? It can kind of get set to the side, right? Like the stepchild. But that project also, measured and indicated and inferred, has over 1 million ounces of gold and over 500 square kilometers of land, which is highly prospective. And there's been a lot of drilling done there in the past. And the company also added to that land package over the last 2 to 3 years. Don't forget about Cameron. I've heard Keith Neumeyer mention Cameron is something he's excited about in interviews in the past. They own 30% of the Pickle Crow Project, also in Ontario, Canada. A company called Autico Minerals, an Australian company, has partnered with First Mining and has been having unbelievable success drilling at this project over the last few years. Do you think Newfoundland's a good place to go gold mining? Well, Eric Sprott certainly thinks so, and First Mining owns 49% of the Hope Brook project in, that's right, Newfoundland. They've partnered with a company called Big Ridge Gold, who also has had great success over the last year drilling and defining a deposit at that project. And you probably want to hear about the final project interest they have. First Mining owns 15% of a company called Treasury Metals. They're developing an exciting gold project also in, yes, you guessed it, Canada. That's a lot of information, but it's important for us to remember that the company over the last 2 to 3 years has been consolidating their focus on their two big main projects, Springpole and Duparquet. What do you think of First Mining Gold? I see a great value proposition. I think a number of factors have come together to really push down the whole sector, but in particular, First Mining Gold. I mean, gold in Canada for under $10 per ounce, a company that's becoming laser focused on two world-class opportunities in Canada. We haven't really hit on that too much. Their jurisdiction that they're working in is one of the most favorable for mining. They've made some key strategic moves over the last 2 to 3 years, and they're moving through the permitting process. It won't be long, right? The market looks around the corner. The market looks out into the future that we could see some major catalysts for this company, that we could see these moves that Dan Wilton has made as CEO begin to bear fruit. What I see is a solid long-term investment, an asymmetric risk profile. That means the amount that it can go down is far outweighed by the amount that it can go up. Now, remember, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just sharing what I see in the company. And you know what I forgot to mention as well? This company has zero debt. It's really hard for a company with zero debt to go bankrupt and become worthless. Hey, if you've watched this long, number one, I appreciate you putting up with me. But number two, what you might consider doing is reaching out to Paul Morris. He's the Vice President of Investor Relations at First Mining Gold. I'm going to put his email address down in the description below. He is a great guy. He ranks right up there with the other key management quality people that I highlighted earlier in the video. I know he'll get right back to you, and he would love to hear from you with any questions you have about the company. But remember, you have to look at investing in the mining sector as a long-term investment. This company offers what I believe to be superior price appreciation potential. I'm glad you joined me here in the basement. Until next time, you be well.